Hello and welcome to my tarot corner. So this is one of the new cats tarots that I was waiting for. Not all of them arrived. This one did. It's called the FELINE Rider Tarot, and it is a beautiful cat-based tarot deck, but mainly very nature-like. So I thought it would go very well with the spacious tarot that I used before. Okay, so what are we reading about this time? And apparently, Meghan changed her mind and she actually does want those titles. She doesn't want them to be taken. And by now, Parliament is looking into ways of helping King Charles to be able to take away those titles. And I said in the past that I don't think that Charles should do that right now. I think that he should wait until after the coronation. And I believe that Meghan is going to try to find a way of convincing Charles to keep those titles. And I'm not sure exactly how she means to do that. I mean, they did not congratulate him for his birthday. It looks like both the Netflix documentary and the book are not going to be very helpful in trying to retain those titles. So I'm looking forward to some kind of a trick that she's going to pull out of her sleeve. What I'm going to do here is it's from King Charles' perspective. What should he do? How should he treat that? What kind of challenges is he going to face? And I'm hoping that it will give us some kind of insight to what she's planning. I'm sure that she's the one who plans that, not Harry. Okay, so let's start by saying the disclaimer. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It's open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourselves. Okay, so let's finish that and clear the deck. Okay, so Prince Charles and the Sussexes, King Charles. Let's start it over. King Charles and the Sussexes titles. Meghan wants those titles retained, but they're not. What is she prepared to do in order to retain those titles? And what should King Charles do? What kind of obstacles is he going to face, and what does he mean to do in the end? So what are the obstacles King Charles faces in taking away the Sussexes' titles? Does he actually mean to take those titles? And what will Meghan try to pull out in order to retain those titles? Okay, I think I covered the question from all angles. So let's start with cutting the deck. And the first card is, what does King Charles need to know in everything that is connected to these titles? And what we're getting here is the Five of Cups. So the Five of Cups is a card of desperation, but this is a card of not justified desperation. This is a card of desperation that is not justified. So first of all, for King Charles, he doesn't need to be desperate. He actually needs to look at the two full cups behind him and not the three that have spilled. And in my opinion, the three cards that have spilled, first of all, represent the Netflix the Netflix docuseries, the book, and the Archetypes podcast that in which she's also trying to damage the royal family. But the two cups behind him are the cups of his son and his grandchildren, the good things that he have behind. So this card shows us that King Charles needs to realize that reality is better than what he thinks. Now, in this card, I also see this faraway ship. And as my teacher always says, you need to look at the one thing that is catching your eyes. This caught my eye. I think that it represents some kind of a surprise visit that might come, or some way of them coming back to the castle behind the cat's back. So they are planning something. They are planning a way of coming back without King Charles realizing that. I think that this is what this means. First, this is my intuition saying, but if we're looking at this card in the psychological interpretation, this card is about unjustified despair. It's about reality that is a lot better than what he thinks. So in this instance, he's not very, let's say, not very happy. He's not very optimistic in regard to Harry and his the way that he conducts himself, the way that they are going to conduct themselves from now on. But this card is telling him that he needs to look at the full cups that he have, at what he does have, and then try to find a way of dealing with this looming enemy that is trying to find its way back to the British shores. Okay, so that's the first card. And the second card is the challenges that King Charles is facing, and that could give us more of an idea of what the Sussexes are planning. And what I'm getting here is another world card. And once again, because we're looking at challenges, we're looking at the negative aspects of this card. And the world card, when it's negative, it speaks about finding it very hard to get out of your boundaries. Now, in this instance, I believe that for King Charles, it's very difficult to think about taking away his son titles, even the prince titles. And it is a card that speaks about finding it very difficult to get out of those boundaries, being stuck, and out of the wish of being very perfect, that he wants his tenure as king to be seen as perfect, as if he is in this white bulb and he is the one who is made everything so light in that very dark atmosphere. So he wants everything to be perfect. He doesn't want any kind of difficulties. He doesn't want the scrutinization that might come out from whatever people that are supporting the Sussexes. So these things are holding him back. This is one of the reasons why he cannot actually come out and say those titles are going away. He's waiting for an opportunity. This is another reason why I believe that he won't be doing that right now. So this card shows that the difficulties that he's facing are, first of all, his difficulty of getting out of those boundaries that are confining him to his own role as a king, something that he learned from his mother, what he can do, what he can't do. So these things are holding him back, and he cannot move forward in taking those titles, and that is why Parliament is trying to ease that thing that for him by changing the boundaries. And by changing the boundaries, they are letting him have more weapons, more ability to actually really take those titles. So that is the first thing. Now, the second thing is, if we're trying to look at what the Sussexes might try, and I am trying to find out what, from this card, what they might be trying to do. And I believe that they will try to tell the world what a terrible king he is, what a terrible father he was, and all of the things that can undermine his authority, undermine his wish for this very enlightened and very perfect tenure as king. So he really wants to be in that bubble, and that the world will see him as this king that brought enlightenment and a lot of good things to Britain. And the Sussexes are coming from the outside. So we can see the pomegranate here that is full of little seeds of, it could be seen as hate, or even all sorts of seeds of doubt in the monarchy, doubt that this is a good institution, that this is an institution that should last, but this will be their last resort. That is why it's here in the corner. But they will try to damage this perfect image that King Charles wants to have for his tenure as king. Okay, what is King Charles' guiding card? What is the card that he should, put on the refrigerator and let it lead him? And what I'm getting here is the King of Pentacles. King? Sorry, that's the Queen. Okay, so that sounds more like it, because the Queen of Pentacles, that's his mother, that is the Queen herself. And this is what she taught him, and this is what he should have on his, let's say that is the headline of everything that he does. He should be guided by what she taught him. And this is about being very work-minded, very good with everything that connects to money and property, and that means not giving away money to his son, because I believe that Harry is going to find himself in very deep financial problems. So this card is telling King Charles, you need to be like your mother, you need to remember what your mother told you, and you need to be the shopkeeper. And in this instance is the keeper of the monarchy. The shop is the institution, and he needs to keep what he's got. So he needs to find a way of getting out of the boundaries, still finding or showing the world that he can and turn darkness into light, but also retain what his mother taught him. So he needs to find this very thin line of changing things, but without changing the real essence of the monarchy. So this is his guiding card. This is what he needs to do. So what can help him in finding a way of taking away those titles from one hand, but keeping his mother's legacy on the other hand? And what I'm getting here is the Hierophant. Okay, so the Hierophant, that is King Charles, because this is the head of the church. This is the main religious person in the country, but this is also the person who does the right thing. So this card is telling King Charles, once you're doing the right thing, once you're not submitting to the devil that is behind this card, because behind every Hierophant there's a devil looming. And if you remember my reading about Prince William, the devil came there in a very outspoken way to warn William not to stoop into his level. And this card is a subtle way to tell King Charles that he needs to do the right thing. And doing the right thing is not only keeping his mother's legacy, it is finding a way of keeping his mother's legacy with doing what the people want and keeping the institution on one hand, but on the other hand, doing the right thing is also taking away those titles. So he needs to find that really very delicate path of navigating between both of those things that could seem as if they are opposing one another, but they're actually not. So what he really needs to do is find a way of doing that, and that everyone will understand that this is part of him protecting the monarchy, protecting the institution, and protecting what everyone believes in. So that is what can help him. And what does he need to be very worried about? What kind of warning can we give him? And what I'm getting here is the Two of Cups. So it looks like the Sussexes are not going to be silent. The Two of Cups is a card of being active. And being active, it is about being the suitor, not waiting to be courted. It's also about trying to persuade everyone that they are this lovey-dovey couple, and they have a lot of emotions between them. Look how much water we have here. So we have the water here and the water in the cups. So this is about trying to convince the world that they are this perfect couple, that they are very active, that they are doing things, and that they believe that everything is just they deserve things. And because they believe that they deserve things, this is how they are going to act. So King Charles can expect some kind of action that comes with the Sussexes, and that is why I saw that ship here, also on the water, a lot of water here, and this shows me that they are going to try some kind of emotional stunt. They're going to try something that is going to reflect or to influence people and make people's emotions feel sorry for them, or people that will start feeling that maybe they were wrong. This card is telling me two things. First, that they are going to start being very active in that way. And the second thing is that King Charles needs to be very, very careful not to fall into passivity, not to fall into let's wait and see what happens. He needs to be very on hand and to find that perfect moment in which he can take away those titles. This is before they manage to instigate this pity play, because this is what they're going to do. And this also helps me understand why I got the Five of Cups in the beginning, because this is another cups. They are going to try and make people feel for them. And this is what they're going to try in every way that they can. But they will try to make people feel that they are treated wrongly, that they don't deserve what they are getting. And this is something that they already started with the Oprah interview, but for a while they didn't push that narrative. They're going to push it very, very hard. This is something that King Charles needs to be very worried about. Okay. What does he need to let go of? So what does he need to realize that this is not serving him and not serving the monarchy? And what I'm getting here is the King of Cups. Well, so I'm not surprised because the King of Cups is the Harry card, although he's not a water sign, but this is the whiner king. This is the king that feels that he's not getting what he deserves. This is the king that keeps on crying that he is not treated in the right way. So this card is telling us that he needs to find a way to get rid of Harry. He cannot let Harry come back. He cannot, not even if he separates from Meghan. Harry is a component here that is hindering King Charles. If he done that before, he will do that again. He really, in his psyche, believes that he was treated wrongly. This is a card of a person who is very disturbed mentally, a card of a person that pretends that he cares about family, but he really cares about himself and the things that he hasn't received. So Prince Harry believes that he should have those titles. That is why he's a king, and that is why he has a crown and a scepter. He believes that he deserves those titles, that is his birthright. This is what he believes. This is something that King Charles needs to be very, very clear about. This is not a birthright. This is something that you should deserve, and you don't deserve that. So this is something that King Charles needs to let go. And it's very hard to let go of a son. It's not easy. And in the past, I got it more than once that King Charles was willing to let Harry and Meghan come back. This card is telling him to be very, very careful about that, not to fall into that trap. Okay. Next card is what can we see for the end result. So what will happen? And what we're getting here is the star. So first of all, the star is a positive card because the star is a card of someone who has a lot of loving feelings and a lot of harmony, and once again, it is about being a star. But in this instance, the star is also a card of opening a Pandora box. This is also a card of big emotional problems. And this card tells me that King Charles is going to find a way of showing the world that he loves his son, that this has nothing to do with his feelings towards his son. And see how much water we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that have a lot of water, and the King of Pentacles has water here as well. So he is going to make it very clear that he loves his son, that he has this harmony and loving feelings towards him, and that he has very warm feelings towards him. This is the main issue here. But he will also make it very clear that Harry is mentally disturbed, that Harry has opened Pandora boxes, that he has done the things that are just not pardonable. Opening a Pandora box, that is letting all of the sorrow and all of the bad things in the world to come out, all of the sins, and doing something like that is something that deserves a punishment. So in my opinion, he's not going to show it as a punishment, and I believe that this is a very smart move from King Charles. He will make it very clear that he is very much loves his son and the family and his grandchildren, that he has a lot of feelings. So this will take the sting out of what they are trying to prepare for him, because out of their tricks of trying to make people feel for them, King Charles is going to use that. He's going to say, yes, I have a lot of feelings for them. I love them. I really am very much I really appreciate them very much. I love them a lot, but they are mentally unstable and they did something that is not pardonable. But he's not going to use that as an excuse. He's going to find a way of entering it without being seen as vindictive, without being seen as the punishing father. He will be seen as the Hierophant, the one who does the right thing. And he will make it seen as a way that, since he's doing the right thing, everyone will follow him. Everyone will agree with him. And once again, he will make sure that people remember that he is following his mother's act, that he is taking her advice and what she taught him, and he's just taking it into the next level of making the world a better place. Okay, so this is it for this reading, and I think it's a very good reading for King Charles, despite all of the dangers that might come and all of the things that the Sussexes might try to do in order to convince the world that they should retain those titles. I believe that it won't come today. It will. First of all, he will have to be crowned. We got the Queen of Pentacles, and we got the Hierophant. Both of them are symbols of a crowned king. He will be officially a king after he is crowned, and he will be officially the head of the church after he's crowned, and he will be officially the one who continues his mother work after his crown. So I believe that these two cards came here not by accident. It is showing us that he needs to wait until he's crowned, and I believe that he will. Okay, so the Seeker Oracle, very similar to the Messenger Oracle. And let's see what kind of message does this oracle have for King Charles. Okay, so let's clear the deck. Message for King Charles on taking away the Sussexes' titles. Message for King Charles on taking away the Sussexes' titles. And the card that I'm getting is Choose Love. So this goes so well with the Star card. It tells King Charles to find a way to show the world that taking away those titles is not about not loving his son. And it goes so well with the fact that they are going to try and convince the world that this is something that he needs to choose between keeping the titles, which means he loves them, and taking those titles away, which means that he does not love them. But this card is telling him that he can choose love and do the right thing. So it just enforces the message of the tarot. It tells him to choose love, to act with compassion, empathy, and kindness. Be very compassionate, be very loving, and be very clear about the fact that you still love your Sun, but find a way to take away those titles without being seen as vindictive, vengeful, or unloving. So this is it for this reading. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.